The German Army. As of April 2020, the German Army had a strength of 64,036 soldiers. A German Army equipped, organized, and trained following a single doctrine and permanently unified under one command in 1871 during the unification of Germany under the leadership of Prussia. From 1871 to 1919, the title Deutsches Heer was the official name of the German land forces. Following the German defeat in World War I and the end of the German Empire, the main army was dissolved. From 1921 to 1935 the name of the German land forces was the Reichsheer, and from 1935 to 1945 the name Heer was used. The Heer was one of two ground forces of the Third Reich during World War II, but unlike the Heer, the Waffen-SS was not a branch of the Wehrmacht but was a combat force under the Nazi Party's own Schutzstaffel forces. The Heer was formally disbanded in August 1946. After World War II, Germany was divided into the Federal Republic of Germany were founded. During the Cold War, the West German Army was fully integrated into NATO's command structure while the Landstreitkräfte were part of the Warsaw Pact. Following the process of German reunification in 1990, the Landstreitkräfte were partially integrated into the German Army. Since then, the German Army has been employed in peacekeeping operations worldwide and since 2002 also in combat operations in Afghanistan as part of NATO's International Security Assistance Force. Following World War II, the Allies dissolved the Wehrmacht with all its branches on 20 August 1946. However, already 1 year after the founding of the Federal Republic of Germany in May 1949 and because of its increasing links with the West under German Chancellor Konrad Adenauer, the Consultative Assembly of Europe began to consider the formation of a European defense community. With German participation on the 11th of August 1950, former high-ranking Wehrmacht officers outlined in the Himmelroder Memorandum a plan for a German contingent in an international force for the defense of Western Europe. For the German land forces, the memorandum envisioned the formation of a 250,000-strong army. The officers saw the need for the formation of 12 panzer divisions and 6 corps staffs with accompanying corps troops, as only armored divisions could muster a fighting force to throw back the numerically far superior forces of the Warsaw Pact. Theodor Blank was appointed officer of the Federal Chancellor for the strengthening of Allied troops questions. This defense ministry foreigner was known somewhat euphemistically as the Blank Office, but explicitly used to prepare for the rearmament of West Germany. By March 1954, the Blank Office had finished plans for a new German army. Plans foresaw the formation of 6 infantry, 4 armored, and 2 mechanized infantry divisions as the German contribution to the defense of Western Europe in the framework of a European defense community. On 8 February 1952, the Bundestag approved a German contribution to the defense of Western Europe. And on 26 February 1954, the Basic Law of the Republic was amended with the insertion of an article regarding the defense of the sovereignty of the federal government. Following a decision at the London Nine Power Conference of 28 September to 3 October 1954, Germany's entry into NATO effective from 9 May 1955 was accepted as a replacement for the failed European Defence Community Plan. Afterwards, the Blank Office was converted to the Defence Ministry and Theodor Blank became the first Defence Minister. The nucleus of Army was the so-called WE branch of the Department of Defence. Subdivisions included were WE Leadership and Training, WE B Organization and WE C Logistics. The army saw itself explicitly not as a successor to the defeated Wehrmacht, but as in the traditions of the Prussian military reformers of 1807 to 1814 and the members of the military resistance during National Socialism, such as the officers which undertook the failed 20th of July plot to assassinate Adolf Hitler in 1944. Nevertheless, for lack of alternatives, the officer corps was made up largely of former Wehrmacht officers. The first chief of the army was the former Wehrmacht General der Panzertruppe Hans Rottiger, who had been involved in the drafting of the Himmelroder Memorandum. The official date of the founding of the army is the 12th of November 1955, when the first soldiers began their service in Andernach. In 1956, the first troops set up 7 training companies in Andernach and began the formation of schools and training centers. On the 1st of April 1957, the first conscripts arrived for service in the army. The first military organizations created were instructional battalions, officer schools, and the Army Academy, the forerunner to the Führungsakademie der Bundeswehr in Hamburg. In total of 12 armored and infantry divisions were to be established by 1959, as planned in Army Structure I. To achieve this goal, existing units were split approximately every 6 months. However, the creation of all